Toxic shock syndrome may really be a blessing in disguise. What it's done is made us as consumers and physicians much more aware of the problems connected to feminine hygiene products, tampons, douches, and other kinds of products. Today, we're going to take a look at those products. We'll investigate their hidden dangers, and we'll also meet a woman who has suffered through a terrible battle and lives to tell it, toxic shock syndrome.
We're live from downtown Detroit, and this is SONYA.
Peggy Christensen joins us today. This attractive young lady with us has gone through a very difficult experience. I understand that you had a number of symptoms. There were years as you started to develop a variety of problems that you weren't really sure the nature of. But one night, you actually had a crisis, and you developed toxic shock syndrome. Could you tell us a little bit about what happened then?
Well, it started out like the flu. I got nauseated, and I was like hot and cold. And I was out, and I came home, and I laid on the couch. My husband was out. And I laid down, and I felt a little bit better. And then I slept. And I woke up and got a drink of water every once in a while, and then I felt like I was going to throw up, so I got a pan, put it by the couch. And I really started feeling really bad, and my husband came home, and I told him what I felt like, you know, and we went to bed, and I got up a couple times during the night, and I really felt bad. I had started having the runs. And the next thing I knew, I was like hanging off the side of the bed. My arm was on the floor. And my husband was waking me up, and he says, "What is wrong with you? Do you know what you're doing?" And I said, "I feel terrible. I feel just like I'm dying. I feel terrible. This is really bad. If I've got the flu, I've got to go to the doctor or the hospital or something." I said, "Something is terribly wrong." He said, "You have vomited in your sleep." And, well, he started to throw up himself. I had diarrhea in my sleep. The bed was a mess. He says, "Couldn't you get up and go to the bathroom?" Naturally, I couldn't. And so I went and took a shower, and I went downstairs and sat on the couch. And he said, "You smell terrible. You gotta take a bath or something." I says, "Oh, please don't make me go back up those stairs," because I just was so weak and shaky. And so he helped me back upstairs and got me in the bathtub and gave me a bath. And I just couldn't sit there, so I got out and...
Did you end up going to the hospital?
Yeah, he called an ambulance. And they took me to the hospital. They had given me oxygen on the way because I couldn't breathe very well.
Now, I just want to ask you, were you menstruating at this time when you became
Right at the
ill?
end, right at the very end.
Let me just take you back for just a minute, because I understand that you were in very, very bad shape. As a matter of fact, we have some pictures of you as you're in the hospital. Let's take a look at those. You know, as we look at you sitting here, let's take a look at, this is a first one of you that we can see of you just kind of lying in bed over there. And we have some that actually show changes in your body. Now, is that your back?
The bottom.
Your bottom?
The bottom.
It looks like hamburger meat.
It was.
Did you have a rash? Is that what happened? Is it that sores just started to open
I
up?
really don't know. When I woke up, I was in this shape.
Let's take a look at another one. My goodness, it's hard to believe it's the same person. I mean, you really do look like you're dying. And then I think we have one more. I think that's your brother who's standing with you.
No, that was my husband.
Oh, that's your husband who's over there with you. You led up to this with a variety of symptoms. Are they the kind of symptoms that every woman has when she's menstruating? I mean, cramping or just not feeling well? You went to doctors. What did they tell you?
Well, I kept having yeast infections a lot, and they never mentioned tampons or anything. They said it was because of my nerves, and the headaches were really bad. And the chest
nerves and headaches. I think you should see a psychiatrist. Did you get one of those?
My husband told me I was crazy. And we got seeing a psychiatrist. after some problems.
Did you have some problems in your marriage going through this?
Yes, yes. Mhm.
So it strained every part
It
of...
almost cost me my marriage.
Did anyone ever suggest to you that you stop using tampons at any point?
No, not until after I was in the hospital.
That's the first time that came up to any fruition. Were you using one at the time that you went into the hospital?
Yes, super.
Okay, with us, and the gentleman that she's turning to is Douglas Peters, who is her attorney and also representing some other women. Now, in terms of your involvement with Peggy, the manufacturers of the tampons suggest that they really have no information that this could cause any toxicity, any infection, or any problem. And doctors obviously didn't know that it could have anything. What are you doing suing the manufacturers?
The manufacturers aren't telling the truth. In 1956, a physician published an article in the South Carolina Medical Journal stating that he felt that tampons were dangerous, that using tampons would cause chronic infections, both of the bladder and the vagina, would cause lacerations and ulcerations of the vaginal wall. And this doctor was not heeded. A number of other studies, indeed one of them, a 1978 study, was sponsored by Kimberly-Clark, one of the tampon manufacturers.
Yeah, but we see studies all the time,
Sure.
Douglas. I mean, you know, there was just something about coffee the other day, and 3 days later they say, don't worry about that. We'd be driven crazy if we had to pay attention to every study.
But when a manufacturer makes a product, they are bound, not only by law, but by social conscience, to check further, to find out if there is anything to a physician report, to find out if there is any substance to a study. Not only did they not dig further, but they did not share the information that they did have about the dangers of tampons. The Food and Drug Administration's been gathering evidence for years about tampon-related problems. And
Well, what's their attitude now?
The Food and Drug Administration is probably going to insist on labeling, the sort of warning that any consumer deserves when a product has a danger, an inherent danger in its use.
But, you know, we've always been guinea pigs to some degree, women. I mean, haven't we? We've always had the products tried on us. How would you know if there was any danger unless, in fact, it was put into use? Isn't that a normal risk?
No. They did studies with rabbits, and they put different types of materials in the reproductive systems of rabbits. And some of the materials they tested, for example, were carboxymethylcellulose. And that is the main ingredient of Rely tampons. And they found out not only did this cause ulcerations, but it was toxic to boot. It was inherently poisoning.
Well, now that you're announcing all of this for all of us here, I would imagine that if someone listening to us today happened to get toxic shock syndrome, that the manufacturers could say, well, listen, you heard Douglas Peters right here on Channel 4 in Detroit, therefore it's not our fault. What do you want from us? So that's the end of the lawsuit business, right?
No, that's not true. As a matter of fact, some of the manufacturers are running polling samplings to find out how many women know about the dangers of tampons, and they intend to allege in their defenses that women know, so they assume the risk. But the warning's not on the product. And when people watch a talk show or they listen to some lawyer, they're never sure whether they're hearing a bunch of PR baloney or whether they're hearing some true scientific information. It's the manufacturer that should tell you. Now, if this was a drug, the drug would have a package insert. This has been considered, tampons have been considered cosmetics. And until 1976, the Food and Drug Administration had no power to get information about what materials were used in the tampons or whether even these materials have been tested.
Peggy, are you okay now? Are there any after effects?
I have trouble seeing, especially in the dark at night. I don't like to drive because I can't see what I'm doing. My hand is still scarred. Probably won't go away.
What about your marriage? Has it survived all of this?
Yeah. Barely. Barely.
Well, I tell you, I'm, like many of us, I'm sure, I'm sorry that you had to experience this, but perhaps having experienced it and sharing it with us today, we can prevent other people going through the same thing. As a matter of fact, we're going to ask the two of you to join us in the audience, because when we continue, we'll be talking with a physician and